Okay, so I know we talked about me filming a little review for your photos, so bear with me because I'm at the work office, but I'm just gonna go over both these ones that you've sent me from your Pixie set. First thing first, I know you use Pixie Set, which can be awesome. If you use Adobe Lightroom Classic, this one, they have a portfolio. So my portfolio is done all through Adobe, which is the same as Lightroom, like Adobe Cloud, which you probably know. But I cannot recommend using this more. It is awesome. It's so easy to use, and it even gives you the option to purchase your link. So how yours says like pixieset.com, I bought mine, so all it says is work instead of dot, like Adobe Portfolio. So look into that. You can literally go to Adobe Cloud, log in, click your little face in the corner, manage your account, and then it'll show you all of the apps that you have like included in your membership and things like that. So access your apps and services, and then you can make sure that you have access to portfolio, which is just PF. Let's see where it is. No clue. Portfolio. Oh, there it is, PF. It's awesome. I love it. You can even have like more than one portfolio on those. So I used to use Pixie Set. I found this to be just a little bit easier, so let me know if you like that. First things first is I kind of have questions about like if you edit. I know you said you don't edit all of them. I see that you edited this one comparatively. Like these are a little brighter. Maybe that's the light. I know you mentioned like having problems with the lighting with two different fields. That's a really good photo, just dark. So what I would do, I'm gonna download this actually. Oh, it's gonna make me. Okay, let's see if this will work. I am going to show you what I would do editing this. So I use Lightroom Classic. Hopefully you do too. If not, that's not a big deal, but it is incredible. Super easy to use. Okie dokie. Sorry, ignore that. We had a protest on campus. Oh, you definitely use Lightroom because you start it, which is awesome. So what I would do in photojournalism and sports photography, what we say is like the tighter the crop, the better. So use your cropping tool and literally go as far in as you can without making it grainy. You could even probably go farther. There will be some people who tell you to go farther. I like to leave a little bit of the foreground, and then I would crop that guy's arm out because I hate that. That might be a little much. Just make sure you have the ball in their faces. So that's what I would do. And then obviously, this is huge. Use your auto straighten. That'll make your horizon straight. That is a huge thing. Definitely make sure you're using that. So those are the first things I do whenever I edit any photo I take. So we'll go to just random. Let's see what we have here. Athletics. Let's just go to men's basketball. So I do the same thing. I star them, but you always need to crop and then straighten. Literally every single photo that I publish will be cropped and then straightened. So that is huge. That is the biggest thing that I tell my beginning photojournalists. So just make sure you are always cropping and always straightening your image. Okay, and then I always go to develop basics. And what I do first is usually I raise the shadows because that just opens up any of those clogged pixels essentially. And then on this one, I would do a little exposure, not a lot. Your quality is really good. It's not grainy or anything, which is awesome. And your settings look good with your, let's see, your shutter speed and ISO, everything looks really good. I usually edit, like I love a photo that has like whites are whites and then blacks are black. Like I just think that really adds to it. So I just do like little adjustments over here, like the whites are up, the blacks are down, the shadows are up, like I said, a little bit of exposure just because it's dark. And then in my dream world, I would crop that guy's arm out. but you really can't do that and keep your 4:6 ratio. So if I were just posting this on Instagram, I would unlock this over here so that I could ideally crop it like that. So it's not 4:6, and no one really cares because that's a good photo. But you can keep it at 4:6. But this is just if I was only posting on Instagram, you're allowed to mess with it. And then I always bring up my saturation just a little bit because I really like when those colors are like real colors. So this is kind of F for full screen, you probably know this, and then backslash for before and after. But that is what that's looking like. And then I know we talked about having some white balance issues with your photos, which is so normal. Do not fret. Like, that looks edited, that looks good. Okay, here we go. We're gonna let's download this one. And let's see what we've got going on. Hopefully this is beneficial. If you have any other questions, please just text them to me and I will do what I can. Okay, let's import that. So this is a big deal with, you probably know this, with any type of field lighting. So it will not tell me what your white balance is at, so I'm gonna assume that it was on auto and there's just an orange light going on. There's this dropper tool. You need to select something white or gray. So that's how easy that is to fix that. So let's do a before and after. So all I did was click on their gray jerseys and it knows. So that was simple, easy. Those are the adjustments it made. And then you just put your little dropper back in there, and then same thing. We're gonna crop it until we can't anymore. And a big thing is, I know that you share these photos with your athletes, which is good. It's a great way to get exposure. But the biggest thing is make sure that, I think this is a great photo because it has the ball and it has action. What our rule is if you want to have, I might readjust this white balance because it looks a little, that almost looks a little better to me. Yeah, that's still a little brown. So I'm gonna click on his helmet, and then I know in my eyes that his helmet still looks a little blue. So I'm gonna move it up a little over here, orange. So that's what I would do. Okay, sorry, my brain gives everywhere. I'm gonna up the shadows again. Whites, I forget what I was talking about. Blacks, do a little saturation, and then here's your before and after. So that is just white balance. It is so important to use your white balance little dropper over here. It is a big deal when you're shooting soccer games, football games, things along those lines. But what I was saying is that I tell all my photographers, hey, like, when you're taking photos, the photos that you want to publish, the photos that you are going to post on Instagram, either need to have their face with a reaction or an expression, the ball, or like a moment. So for example, like, let's see, that you had a picture, I think it was in your other gallery. Let's see. So you had, here's a good example. This is a great sports photo because you can tell they just won or they're eating something, I don't know, donuts, maybe they didn't score, I can't really tell, it is cookies, I don't know. But this is a good sports moment. Obviously, they're not playing, there's not a ball, but it is like a good sports moment, essentially. See, this is a great example of a good action because you have the action frozen. It's super dark. I would definitely edit it and then straighten the horizon a little bit because I can kind of tell it's not super. It just needs a little bit of straightening. But I do that to literally every photo. This is a great photo. Action, reaction. Like, this should be on your portfolio. This is a great image. Like, it's all about capturing the moment. So usually pictures of players' backs are kind of a no-no because it doesn't tell a story. It's not really important unless the ball's in it or their reaction's in or something else happening. But this is a good photo of players' backs because it's a moment, which you probably know that, which is awesome. And then again, this is a good action photo. You don't see their face, you don't see the ball, but because it has action, it's a good photo. Same thing, reaction, no ball. But yeah, straighten this one because I can tell it's tilted a little bit that way, which again is so normal for sports photographers. And see, this one's good because of the composition. Another thing that I would look at is, what I would do is I'm gonna download this. I don't know how familiar you are with this, so this is just kind of what I would tell my photographers. You need to know your rules of composition. So I will kind of tell you about that a little bit. So if I was editing this, which it looks like you did, it looks really good. Something I would do is I would almost take down the blacks a little more, or I would even do a mask on the background, and then it'll show you what it highlights. And then I would take the background down just a little bit to eliminate the flare of those lights. So just by doing that, this is a little bit of the difference. It kind of makes him pop a little more. And then something I like to do with these cool sports photos is add a little bit of texture. So this will essentially like make, like, just look at the grain on his jersey. So there's like before, after. So it kind of just makes it a little more like a graphic, if that makes sense. So here is kind of the before and after of what I would do to that photo, just to make him pop a little more, make it more graphic-y. But the most important thing, so it's gonna tell you it's crooked, but since we don't really know, like there's nothing in the background telling you like, hey, that's crooked, I would not auto straighten this because I want to keep his hands in it as much as I can. So I would undo everything that it just did. I would leave it how it is. But you need to know composition techniques. So rule of thirds is one. So this photo is going to look arguably better than this photo, not even due to the editing, just because of the composition of where this player is. So what I would do, if you know this, good, that's incredible. Composition for photography. I would watch a video. I would learn all the elements of composition. So one is rule of thirds. So divide the image into thirds, horizontally and vertically. It'll just look better if something is in the third of a frame, right here, just like our guy was, rather than in the center. It just is more aesthetically pleasing to the human eye. I don't know why. It's just what we have figured out as photographers throughout the years. Framing. So I actually have a PowerPoint on this because I do a little bit of teaching. So let me see if I could find this for you. But I have some of my favorite photos of framing here. And again, it just kind of, here you go, composition. Let's show you these. Framing. So this photo, he is framed beautifully in between the fences. She is framed in between the diving thing. I have so many framing ones. It's my favorite freaking composition in the world. And then this one is leading lines. So like there are lines leading up to your subject. This is repetition. So when there's a bunch of things in a row, people love it. This is empty space, or they call it, I don't even know, just something space. People love a photo where it's just the subject and nothing in the back. This is kind of just, I mean, it's rule of thirds because they're in the third here, and then this is also the third. That's leading lines. This is thirds. He's in the third of the frame. This is thirds with also shadow, so a little bit of repetition. This is leading lines, repetition. So go online and look at all of these. So leading lines, balance, negative space, that's what it's called, symmetry, filling the frame, color and contrast, texture, lines. I really love Photo Genius, YouTube. This is what I send all my photographers to watch. So 10 photography tips. This guy, he's so funny. But that will be super helpful. I think you have a great eye. I mean, you clearly know football because you get a lot of action. Like, again, that's awesome. That's awesome. Just work on editing. So like this one, you can tell just based upon the fence essentially that this photo is not straight. So you were just a little crooked taking it. And that is how I am. A lot of my photos are that way. Every sports photographer has photos that are crooked. Like I said, like this is one that's not edited. I bet it needs straightened. And it did. They all do. Every single photo you take will most likely need a good straightening to it. But just continue to edit. Continue to try to find your favorite like composition styles. So like every photo I try to take is composition. Like it has a specific composition to it. Obviously sports are a little different, but just like here, this one, he could have been in the center, but third. Yep, I cropped him. He was actually in the center, cropped it to make it in the third. So it's just these little things that you will pick up as you continue to grow as a photographer. So just make sure you always have the ball, a reaction like a face, or a moment. So a good example is like a picture of a dad wearing a jersey is in a moment, but a picture of a dad wearing a jersey with his kid on his back in the same jersey, that's a good photo. So I actually made a few videos on this on my YouTube. So I will send this to you through YouTube or like a YouTube link. But there's this video right here of what makes a newsworthy photo. So like what helps. And then I also have one on autofocus and tracking the action, but you seem like you know the basics, you know your settings. Like that's awesome. I love that you also try to black and white. I think that's so cool. The only thing is like these white balance issues, which again, now you know how to use. Like these look fantastic. These look edited awesome. I like your style. I think you know how to capture the action. You didn't even edit this photo, and this photo is awesome. All you need is a good crop. So just, I don't know, keep working. You're doing great. You have a great eye. I hope this is a little helpful. I'm probably making a little motion sick from moving my camera around, but you're doing great. I'm super proud of your work. I'm so glad you reached out, because I wish I had someone like to do this for me, because it's just so important. But yeah, the bad lighting is gonna be the way it is. Also, if and when you can, getting a lens, like I said, is that f2.8. That'll be a game changer, because it'll allow so much more light into your lens. Also, some people have, my dream lens is a 400 millimeter 2.8. This lens is thousands of dollars, like $12,000. Yep. But a lot of people have, Canon makes a 100 to 300 2.8, and this one's also thousands of dollars. But those 400, 300 millimeter lenses are going to get you all the way up there for football. But in the end, your photo is going to just look like a better photo when cropped, essentially. So if you buy those lenses, if you spend thousands of dollars on those lenses, it'll be awesome. You'll have to crop your photos less. Like, you'll get to not crop them as much, but you can get that same effect through just cropping a photo. Oh, there's framing. How he's like in his subject. That's framing, action, emotion. So yeah, also try some slow shutter speeds. These are awesome. I love these photos. But yeah, let me know if you have any more questions, and hopefully this helps. Also, you're doing great. I know I already said that, but keep working. You're kicking butt.